What's up, everybody? Let's take a little break to charge my phone after those 3 other videos. We're gonna finish up real quick. We only have 2 more. Alright. So, this video we're gonna talk about triceps and quads. Let's just finish up with the triceps and get out of here because it's getting cold. I mean, cold right now. Anyway, so triceps. What's my number 1 choice? It should be obvious to anybody who watches me. It should be very obvious. I like these jam presses, but jam presses, they're not your jam presses, they're my jam presses. Everyone can do them however they want. People do them however they want. Spoto does jam presses how he wants. What's his name? Louis the boy. The other powerlifter guy, he does jam presses differently from Jam. Blakely teaches them differently. So how do I do them though? Let's see. Oh yeah, I think his name is Matt. I think that's Louis, protege, whatever you want to call him. Forget his name. Doesn't matter. Matt Winning likes to do some action like that, where he brings it down and tilts it like that, but I don't do that too much. The way I like to do it, just take a bench press, bring it over to the clavicle, and like a guillotine press, you come out flare. But instead of staying flare like a guillotine press, as you enter this range, you start tucking at the bottom, so that way, as you come down and you lay on a bench, your arms are tucked down here at the bottom, and you extend out. So it looks like a close grip bench to the clavicle, and that's what it is. I call it jam press, but it's really the close grip bench press to the clavicle. So you come out in a straight line. I like to keep it locked in. That's how I get the best pumps. Tuck like this, like that, boom, boom. Flare. Come in, tuck. Elbows, your forearms jam into your biceps, and I have pretty big biceps, so it starts hurting after a while to feel your forearms jam into them. But that's great. It means you're going through full range of motion, full elbow flexion, boom, like that. Why do I like them like that? Because you can overload it. It feels safe, stable. There's another way that I do them. Another way that I didn't mention, that I didn't put in my top 10 because it's great, but I like the other one more for a couple of reasons. The other way is to do a press. As you come down, you start letting your elbows rise. You put pressure on your pinky fingers, pull inwards, elevate the elbows, and you come down to your chest, boom, like that. And it might be a straight line, it could be a J, diagonal, see? Boom. And then you elevate the elbows, just touch the neck. Boom, like that. That was great. It's great. There's nothing wrong with it. But I don't like it for one reason. Because you bring the bar to your neck. That's it. And also, it's a little more technical. You have to groove it more. So time the extension portion and the press portion. So it's a little harder to get down immediately. It feels great, but yeah. There's something happens when you're nearing failure. It feels like you have no stability in your hands. Sometimes your hand goes limp and you're doing this, and because of that it gets really scary, to have this weight over here. You're like, is this gonna fall out of my hands? That's the reason. Fear factor. It's a great exercise, but the other one's a little better because you get this range of motion, this great range of motion, without compromising, your neck, your windpipe, everything. Just bring it here. You can bring it here. You can bring it here. Dealer's choice. And I like it. I like it a lot. You can overload really easily. You get the great pumps. You get a lot of tension here, but at the same time, you get a lot of tension out here too. It feels like you get a long head, and you might be able to, depending on how high you elevate your elbows at the bottom. If you're out here, you get a well-rounded tricep stimulus. I like it. most people don't do these folding. These are called folding presses. Right? Folding presses. Boom. Folding presses are my number one in general, and that's my favorite of the folding presses. You can do it with tricep press downs too. You know, when people go like this, like that, boom, or like that, and they let it fold, kind of like a jam press. I like it. All right. Final exercise. Let's do it. Boom. Let's do some of this shit right here. Was that quads? What's my favorite quad exercise of all time? My number one go-to. I don't want to say all time. It could change in a month. It's my number one. It is, wait for it, single leg press. Unilateral leg press. Simple, right? Well, why that one? Why not a squat or anything? Because, there's a fear factor with that too. It's not great when there's a fear factor going on with the lift. It detracts from your intensity because you have to worry about your own safety, and that's never a great thing when you have to worry about, living. Okay? That's why. But, there's other reasons why besides fear. One of those is overload. As you get heavier and heavier on the squat, there's something that happens where you are forced to change your range of motion, kind of. You can't keep your super extended position. You just can't go close to failure without fear, without pain, without agony. But with a single leg press, you could take it all the way to failure. It's gonna suck, but you can do it safely. And if you get jammed up out here, right, you could put your other leg on there and push it up, or you could just get off. You could just, because you're on one leg, you just take the leg off, and it's on the pins already. So just walk out, no fear, no problem. But also, it's a better muscle builder. It's a better muscle builder. I said it. That's why it's number one, not the squat. Why is it the number one muscle builder? Because you get to go through the full knee flexion. You get to put pressure on your ankles, right? So you get the full range of motion on the quad, but at the same time, once you do that, you can elevate your hip, go into hip flexion, and then you get the full range of motion on your ass muscles. And arguably, depending on where you put it and how you move out, you can get good range of motion on your adductors as it pulls out. So that's why I'm not even gonna deal with him this time. I really wish. So so you get more range of motion through most of your muscles. Like with the squat, either your ass and your hamstrings and your calves make contact. That's the end of it. You can't push your knees forward, ankles restrict you too much to break them more with a certain heavy weight. Once the weight gets heavy, with lightweight you can do anything you want, but with real big bore weights you can't always do what you want. But with a machine that goes in a straight line with maximal stability, you can do whatever you want with any weight that you want, if you're strong enough. Big if. And there's other things that you can do. Other things like internally rotating your foot, right? I like to pivot inwards, so when the machine goes up, it's pulling into me, right? And there's pressure, and there's a pull on the outer quad, lateralis. You can't do that with the squat. Either you stay neutral, forward, outward. There is no internal rotation of the foot, of the hip in a squat. It's impossible. But with these, you can do outward, forward, inward. You probably don't want to do too much pivoting outwards because the machine only goes in a straight line. So putting pressure that way is not gonna push it that way. But if you pivot inwards, your pressure is still mostly forward. So that's why I do it inward, because it lines up the most. And also, this foot is a little asymmetrical with this foot. This hip points out by default. This one points more forward. So you got one foot like this, one foot like that. And it's a big problem. But not with the leg press. I could change it up. One leg is a little stronger, but I know how to change it to make it symmetrical. With the squat, you know what happens? This leg stays here, that leg pivots out. I try to push it back in, it pivots out. You see it on video. It does not want to stay in that position. So that's why it's better. Like with one leg, I could change it. I could fix it, but not standing with two legs with a bar on my back where I can't adjust my body. Oh yeah, you can pivot your body too to get more range of motion on the machine. You tilt the side that's doing the work a little bit forward, so that way you have more range of motion with the machine. It's great. It's really great, and it torches my quads better than anything. Better than anything. Anybody that's ever done like real full range of motion without a lift will tell you it destroys everything. It hurts. It hurts. That's why people don't do it. It fucking hurts, even with no weight. Most of you can't even do a plate. You would have to do no weight because that's how hard it is. Well, I think that's 10. There's 10 lifts. I gave you 10. There's no more. There were some other honorable mentions that to make the cut. They're great, but 10. You guys want 10. Not 11, not 12, 10. Alright, I'll give you one more. I'm not going to talk about it, but I really like any motion that's like a lat prayer or pullover, or I don't like them straight arm. I like them bent arm, where you stand as extended position, and you get into this position with a cable or with the wide grip that I've been showing you guys with the pullovers. I like coming out like this, but also abducting. So like I flare out. As you can see, I'm out here, and I do that. So there's flaring going on. Why do I flare? Because, like I said before, teres major, abduction, adduction. So you want to work more teres major, more outer lat, wrap around maybe even. You flare out a little more, out and in instead of back and forward. Those are great too. Those are also great. But I've been having more fun right now with that and that. But that's it for today. I'm gonna go inside. It's getting cold.